Hi, I'm Juliana Tan. I'm the executive editor for Asian Fiction in Translation at Gramedia Pustaka Utama. I acquire, edit, as well as oversee overall publication of translated books from Asian countries, including Korea. Gramedia Pustaka Utama is the biggest publisher in Indonesia and a subsidiary of a leading mass media corporation, Kompas Gramedia Group. Since it was established in 1974, our company has published numerous best-selling and acclaimed works from Indonesian authors, as well as translated and published international bestsellers in the fiction, non-fiction, and children's categories. Foreign titles contribute to 60% of our publication, which includes Harry Potter series, Twilight series, Hunger Games series, and extensive works from Agatha Christie, Paulo Coelho, Stephen King, J.R.R. Tolkien, Keigo Higashino, and many more. I'd like to take this opportunity to talk about The Good Son, or 정의 기원 by Jung Yoo-jung. We acquired this title back in 2016. At that time, Western fiction was dominating the translated novels market in Indonesia. But we started to notice the lack of enthusiasm for general translated novels. Our editorial team felt that we had to publish something new and fresh, but with a theme and setting that are not too unfamiliar that the Indonesian readers find it hard to relate. I thought we had to publish and translate novels from Asian countries. Korean fiction was a good place to start, thanks to all the Korean wave effects in Indonesia. And I'd like to introduce to our market a best-selling book in Korea that is not necessarily related to K-drama, but with a genre and theme that have a universal appeal. Who doesn't love thriller and mystery? So, I chose The Good Son. I usually get information from literary agents, catalogs from Korean publishers, and newsletters sent by KPIPA, or Publication Industry Promotion Agency of Korea. In addition, I frequently check bestseller lists in Korean book market. I first read about Jung Yoo-jung's The Good Son in one of KPIP's newsletters. I was intrigued by the storyline, which delves into the mind of a psychopath. At that time, our publisher's Asian division has not yet developed, but we already had plans to expand it, so I thought this book would be a good way to start. For me, one difficult point while working on Korean books is determining which spelling to use. Let me give you one example. The "o" sound. The romanization can be written as EO or U. I know that in English text, they usually use the U alphabets, like Samsung. But in Indonesian, the alphabet U is pronounced as U. So, if you write Kim Jong-hwa or Hyunji, most Indonesian will read it as Kim Jong-hwa or Hyunji. I will always try to use the EO spelling, but sometimes it depends on the authors or Korean publishers. Therefore, we never have a standardized spelling in our translated Korean novels. The reader's response for The Good Son is quite well. considering at that time Asian fiction has not yet gained traction. So to have a Korean thriller doing better than some of the Western counterparts in Indonesia, it's really something. On Twitter, I saw some readers going crazy for the sentence, Eugene is a predator that belongs to the worst category among psychopaths. As for other Korean books, Kim Ji-young Born in 1982 by Cho Nam-ju is our mega bestseller title. It gained a lot of exposure from the controversy in Korea that involves a K-pop idol, from the movie played by Gong Yoo, who is well loved in Indonesia, and from the Me Too movement that was sweeping Indonesia. As for other Korean titles, a few of them are steady sellers, such as Please Look After Mom by Shin Kyung-suk. But since most of our Korean books were, are, and will be published during the pandemic, we are currently developing different marketing campaigns to the ones we usually do, since the pandemic calls for a different marketing approach. The translated Asian works in general are selling quite well in the last couple of years. For Korean books, nonfiction is doing better than fiction, especially during the pandemic. The best-selling nonfiction works are dominated by self-help books. As for Korean fiction, we are still expanding our range to gauge the reader's interest. But for now, it's still largely dependent on other exposures, such as being quoted or mentioned by K-pop idols on their social media accounts, or being made into films starring popular actors, or written by a celebrity. This can be seen from our best-selling titles such as Cho Nam-ju's Kim Ji-young, Born in 1982, and Fish in the Water, which is written by Lee Chan-hyuk, a K-pop star. We are always interested in publishing Korean books. There aren't any specific titles yet, but we have acquired several titles for next year publication, and we are constantly looking for works that may appeal to Indonesian readers. I'd like to promote a novel by one of the most beloved authors for the last 15 years in Indonesia, Juliana Tan. Just so you know, Juliana Tan never appears in public, so we don't know whether the author is a man, a woman, or a team of writers. The novel I'd like to introduce is titled Sunshine Becomes You. It is set in New York City, and it's about the unlikely love story between Alex, a grumpy famous pianist, and Mia, an innocent dance instructor who accidentally broke his wrist. Alex never wishes to see Mia ever again, but Mia feels obliged to be his hand and help however she can while carrying her own tragic secrets. The premise of Hate Turns to Love may sound simple, but the story provides many twists and turns while maintaining the author's trademark of graceful prose and charming portrayals of the characters. It has equally melted and broken many Indonesian readers' hearts since its publication in 2012. Yes, it was published 9 years ago, but it has been constantly reprinted till today. It's also said that people are still having a cry fest even after reading it for many, many times.